It's Thursday, so that means it's after hours on Beauty Uncovered by Olaplex. And this is Danielle Frank. And today I'm with my friend Jennifer. Hello, Jennifer.
Hi, Danielle. I'm so excited to be here.
I gotta say, we've been having an ongoing discussion for what? Several months now, right? Several months now about all the joys of menopause or perimenopause, I guess you would call it, because both of us, I think we're about the same age, aren't we?
I believe we are. We are about the same years young, I would say.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you look fabulous. I feel as though I'm behind the curve, right? I love that we've had some great experts on here that talk about hormonal health and everything like that. But oftentimes I find I'm calling you and commiserating. But I wish I was at the stage that you were on because like I'm still kind of like floundering with it all. And you're a lot like you're kind of on that path, which I'm very jealous. And for anyone that is not going through menopause or perimenopause, one of they say the telltale sign that you are officially in menopause is when you have stopped your menstruation. Did I say that right? That's like a hard word to pronunciate. But you stop it for a full year, right?
Yes.
And, when you get to a certain age, there seems to be this thing of where you just want it to end, man. Like we're done.
Yeah, it's almost like you start it, but then you're looking forward to that first birthday where you're like, can we just move on now? It's not 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Let's just be done.
Right. I think I went 3 months without it. And then also I got it. I'm like, God, damn it. Yeah. I was so mad.
Yeah, I always used to think I was always excited about not having to deal with some of the monthly things that us women have to go through. And it's sort of an evolution. It's like when you go into puberty, but it's like the flip side. You wake up one day and things are changing and you kind of are experiencing things that you've only heard about.
And even then, I think that like at least the generation before us probably were not as transparent about it. And one of the reasons I love talking about it on here is because I want to normalize it. It's
Yeah.
really not that big of a deal. If you think about all the stuff that we go through from the month to month, they make it sound like menopause or perimenopause is the most terrifying thing ever. And it
True.
really isn't.
True. And, I think that it's really important to, mentally and physically prepare because we can make it a lot easier on ourselves. And, we have to go in with that, mental state, like it's unavoidable, but what we can do physically and mentally can really make a huge difference in, going through the process and coming out on the other side, a lot easier. We're the Gen Xers, we've been up against a lot and
I
we can do
know. I
this. But
know.
with all
And
the information, I've loved all your podcasts because like the last probably 3 or 4, it really hit home to me. It's just really been like, okay, I'm on the right track and I'm doing the right research and it's been amazing. So thank you for that. Loving
you.
every one of your guests.
Thank you. I feel as though like I said, the more we normalize these conversations and just have it, I keep on thinking about when I was pregnant and not actually, and back then they actually had a book. It was called like, it just came out. It was What to Expect When You're Expecting. And so you at least had a little bit of like, oh, okay. This is weird. I didn't expect that, all these things. But I almost feel like there needs to be a what to expect when you are in menopause or something to that extent, because it is almost like because it's aging and it's because it's a sign that you're getting older that it's irrelevant. Like we don't talk about it or we hush hush about it. We're trying to hide it. It's
That's
really not that big
That's
of a
a good
deal.
point. Yeah, it's just a part of life. Like when we're young, we go through puberty, we have to adapt and adjust. Then we're in this other period of our life. Now we're sort of coming out of it. But I look forward to the freedom of getting through it not having to be distracted by it and making it much more normal, because everybody's going to have a different journey. I looked at my mother's side, my father's side. I know genetically we can kind of see, what we are going to expect, but every woman's going to be a little different. But I think knowing what to expect and knowing that it's okay, there aren't any like taboo words or terms or nothing derogatory and aging about it. It's just one of those things we're all going to go through. And I'm glad we can talk about it, because it really helps the anxiety that you have, when you feel that little hot flash coming on, or it's not something you should be ashamed of. We're all doing it. We're all going to get through it. And we're all going to have like a big, like, woohoo, happy
I know, right?
party at the
We should
end.
have a party, Jennifer. We should have a party on 1 year anniversary. We could start a whole trend.
I'm much more likely to have a party for that than my birthday. I want to celebrate my birthday, because I think we've been, with the internet, it's been good and bad. So it's been good because we found all these ways to help, stay young inside and out in our mindset. But, when we're going through this, all of a sudden, all those terms make you feel like, wow, okay, wait, I am getting old, whether I like it or not, but older. So I'd like to say we're getting older. We're not getting old, because I think we've been given the tools if we want to.
We're maturing, Jennifer.
We are, and we're honing in on what helps us feel and look our best. And I like to call it, I love the word self-care, but I call it self-preservation. We do. The people,
all the things.
Yes, the people around us are going to be so much happier to be around us when we're happier and we take care of ourselves inside and out. And so it's a whole package, I think.
One of the things you were saying to me the other day, and it really did resonate with me, is the fact that as we go into different stages, and I think this resonates with both going into menopause, but also, like you said, when you're a teenager, you're going into all the different hormonal changes throughout your life. You have to make certain adjustments in your life in order to accommodate a new health, so to speak. Things are going on in your body, you got to adjust. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like, when a kid is growing and they have to change their pants, because it gets too short. But you were mentioning that you had suddenly realized that where you were blessed in your 20s and 30s, you didn't have to work out or anything like that. But now you're a lot more focused on your physical health, on your skin, on your hair. What is it that's different for you?
I think, and it's so funny because a few years ago, when all of us, our lives were all changed because of this pandemic, I was fortunate enough to start tiptoeing into this process about the same time. So I could probably contribute some of these weird changes to stress or anxiety, but in the back of my mind, I kind of knew my age and, genetically I was looking at. So I thought, well, I better prepare, your skin texture changes a little bit. I used to always spend so much more money on makeup than I would skincare. Fortunately, my mom was one that slapped all the different colors of zinc oxide all over me every summer. So I was used to wearing sunscreen. But beyond that, I would always want the newest lipstick, where now I'm looking at skincare and I'm looking at ingredients and quality and learning that as we get older, we want to look our best, and sometimes less is more, but quality ingredients. And then, and how you feel inside, what you're putting into your body, it matters. You used to go on a binge diet to get into that dress for the weekend. Now you binge, you gain 5 pounds because your body freaks out. Those are things that we don't have control of, but we can sort of learn about, learn to feed your body the right way, learn to, whether you like to hike, be outside, get on a machine inside. A routine for me works out really good. I sleep better. I feel better. I know when I don't do those things that I know are good for me, it just makes a bigger difference than it used to. So I know it takes a while for habits to form and for habits to break, but I like the routine. I feel like, I'm treating my body better than I ever have. So fingers crossed, hopefully this is gonna really be a really exciting phase of my life to go into. And I want everybody.
I need to ask though, because I've always, I've known you 6 years, somewhere around there. Mm-hmm. I have always been very envious of your skin. You have gorgeous skin. So you have to tell me what you're using.
Oh, thank you so much. So part of that.
Or do you hop around like I do?
I used to like, I kind of tend to like the last year, I've really found my system. When I was a teenager, I remember my mom had one of the first chemical peel processes from one of the top plastic surgeons in our area. And I remember after this process, it was really invasive. It was where they actually painted the acid on your skin and literally took the top layers of skin off where all the damage was. And when she got done with that, her doctor said, you're going to have to be very careful about what you use because now you're ultra sensitive. So when she went looking for a skincare line, one of the lines that would guarantee she wouldn't react was Clinique. And so, and there weren't the brands out then, 30 years ago that there are now. So she started really investing in some skincare. And, of course, me, I'm a teenager. I'm like, oh, mom's got the good stuff. So I go in and I use a little of this, a little of that. And as I got older, I've tried different things. And that's been one of my go-to lines. I love their moisturizers. I love their fragrance-free. And then over the years, I've gotten kind of accustomed to some of the more expensive products. And expensive isn't always better. I think it's important to look at all your ingredients. But I do use, I did start getting some adult skin blemish issues when I was going through this change, which I'd never had before. I've never had problem with acne, never had this, but my hormones are all over the place. So I did start using the Differin gel each night just to sort of ward
What kind
that
of gel?
off. Differin gel. It's adapalene. I think it's the same active ingredient that's in Proactive.
Oh,
Um, and that sort of as a preventative, like in my little, T-zone, a little on my cheeks, that's been a lifesaver because I've never had a blemish issue. So that was weird. That was like, wait a minute, this happens in your teens, not when
it's really
you're
funny because like people, when I was a kid, I had kind of similar skin where I never blemished. Like I did, but not really that much. And not like some people I knew. And so they
right.
were like, oh, you're so lucky. You didn't have all those blemishes when you were growing up. But what they don't understand is that that's partially because I had really dry skin.
Mm.
And so I wrinkle a lot faster than
That's true. My skin has always tended to be on the drier side as well. And so maybe we had that in common. I never got really, really bad, but I thought, I'm going to do whatever I can possibly do to try and maintain, some sense of normalcy. And I do like to go a little, with a little less makeup. I've had some good friends, I'll, put my hair up and go out and they say, you don't need makeup. And I go, oh God, please, but it's true. There's that fine line to where you want to make yourself look and feel good. But if you overdo it, it sometimes can be aging as well. So I've spent a lot more in skincare. I do love, and I'm going to blame Tracy Cunningham for this one, but I got a sample of Dr. Barbara Sturm, some of her serums and fell in
Ooh,
love. Yeah, that's one of my splurges. So I use it regularly but sparingly. And then you stay
Doctor
hydrated.
who?
Dr. Barbara Sturm. It's a
Sherm.
German based
This is not me just writing that down.
company. And like I say, I haven't tried all of her products, but I've tried some of her serums and I have noticed it's been a noticeable difference when I use them regularly. So especially when I want to go without as much makeup, I like to at least have the good skin to pull it off. And, just staying hydrated. It's hard. It's hard to remember to drink the
Hydrating is really hard
water.
for me because I love coffee.
Yes, I am a caffeine freak as well. And we know that that's a diuretic and it does show. Yeah.
Yeah, it does show. And when I get too far off track, it's very funny how quickly my skin is like a hot mess.
Yes, it definitely will. It shows when, years ago, we could go with 3 hours of sleep, grab some fast food after, partying all weekend and show up at work and be glowing. That's just not happening anymore for me. So
Well, I feel like between like changing the way that we do stuff. I mean, granted, it's always important to talk to doctors and if you can check your hormones. I mean, the things that I have learned from some of the doctors on here, Sandy George was amazing and shared a lot of
yes, she
great information.
was.
But I think that it's funny. My mom said something to me that really kind of resonated with me. I don't even know if she remembers ever saying to me, but I remember her saying to me like a decade or so ago. And she said that, resolve any of your personal issues ahead of time, because when you start going through menopause, all those issues in your life that you chose to ignore or you chose not to, I don't know if it's embrace or just come to terms with and find peace with, like they're going to come roaring back and you're going to have to deal with it.
That's true. You can only push it down for so long. And I don't know if it's because of the, physiological changes that we go through or the period that we are in our life. Say, our children are raised and now we have to refocus and we're, hyper focused on what's going on with ourselves. But yeah, that's absolutely true. And definitely good to have a good doctor or, OBGYN or somebody. I'm very lucky that I have one. And I went to him and said, I kind of think this is happening. First I said, I was ready to renew my birth control. And I said, I'm not going to be doing this. And he said, oh, wonderful. I know you got married recently, so you're going to have a baby. I said, you're flattering me, right? You look at my chart. You know how old I am. Yeah, that's not happening. I said, flip side, this is what I'm experiencing. He goes, well, you're right on track. Let's do some blood work. Came back. He said, yes, you're absolutely right. This is normal. And he recommended that I just take the over-the-counter non-hormonal estrogen just to take the edge off some of the side effects. And that did help a little bit. And then I did my research and I changed some of my eating habits, some of the things I was or wasn't eating. I don't know if it's
what did you change?
So first of all,
because Jennifer, in my opinion, like a lot of the things, like I said, I've always felt that you were a relatively healthy person in the choices that you made anyways.
True. And I was, honestly. In fact, I looked up what are some of the foods that will naturally boost your estrogen and what are some of the foods that can actually lower. I didn't know there were foods that you would eat and they would actually lower your estrogen levels. And so olive oil was one of them. I've been on olive oil forever. And that actually I found out it can lower your estrogen. And that's the opposite of what I want to do because I'm negative now, so I don't need that. And so I switched over to avocado oil. Some of the
That's so weird because, and don't get me wrong, I have olive oil in my house. Sometimes I cook with it, but I recently, and it was because of Dustin. God, he introduces everything to me, but I started using olive oil. He's like, oh no, you got to try it with this, and I maybe he's just taking care of my hormonal health.
I love Dustin. I do. And he's actually done so much for both of us. I mean, we should probably be paying him for like partial life.
This is his gentle way of saying like, you got to take care of stuff. You got to take care of stuff. That's kind of like when I try growing my hair out and then he's like, I'm cutting it all off. It's going.
Exactly.
Okay.
We need that friend. We need that friend who can be gentle and kind, but very honest with us sometimes.
He's not always gentle and kind. Sometimes he's like, just do it.
It comes from love. That's what's important.
Right. But the olive oil, that's an interesting.
Yeah, that was really interesting. And then, so I switched over to avocado oil and then, I always have loved hummus. And the obvious things like soy contains soy and that boosts estrogen levels. But there are other things, like dried stone fruits, dried apricots, dried peaches, and also sunflower seeds. Those are some easy things to incorporate. And I thought they're healthy. Why not snack on those instead of some of maybe the other processed or salty?
I do like hummus though.
Yes, exactly. And so I try and eat it with vegetables instead of crackers, but I love my crackers. But, you have to have a balance. And I think if we do at least attempt to try to, put into our bodies, that's what we're going to get out of them. And so I can't say that I'd be worse off if I hadn't made those changes. I just know that I feel pretty good compared to some of the horror stories I've heard. So, I love the routine get up. Workout gives me more energy. I found out I was working out wrong. And you are a former personal trainer, so you might understand this.
Okay.
I was a marathon girl. I thought,
yeah.
I started off at 20 minutes a day, worked up to 30 minutes a day, cardio, did a little weights, but I wanted to control my weight. And so I was thinking, more is better. So I worked up to 45 minutes, almost an hour of straight cardio a day Come to find out, I should be sprinting, not marathoning. Less is
But
more, right?
sprinting, I didn't necessarily know about.
So
Because
basically,
I feel as though, in all honesty, because of everything that's going on in our body, that we got to be careful with our joints.
right. And so I have a cycle and I have a rowing machine. So I have the
Ah,
I also splurged and we did put in a swimming pool a year and a half ago because I love the water. And
I'm so
so
jealous. I want a pool. They're so expensive now, though.
yeah, it's one of those things that if you're using it constantly, it's going to pay off. If not, it's kind of a pain. We maintain it ourselves because we can, but if you don't, it's an
Yeah.
added stress. But I've
But are
started,
you doing any weight training? Because I mean, obviously, that was a huge thing that I was told that. Well, I've not that I was told. I've always known,
yes.
for bone health and just for your metabolism.
Yes, yeah. So 3 or 4 days a week, I'll do little sprints of either on my rowing machine or on my cycle. I'll do 5 minutes at like an anaerobic, just go hard for 5 minutes, rest a minute and a half, do another five, and I'll do that 3 times. And so I'm working, it's taking half the time. I'm burning, it seems like almost the same amount of calories, but apparently that's what works for certain types of metabolism, especially as ours slow down.
Hmm.
And then on the other days, I do a little bit of lightweight training. And so I just started this 2 weeks ago. I'm going to have to keep you posted on if I see a
Yes.
noticeable difference because the year previous, I've been killing myself for an hour, 5 days a week. And it's very frustrating, when you don't get those results. So I'll let you know, but I feel like at least doing something is better than doing nothing. So,
Jennifer, I'm doing nothing.
oh,
It's terrible. I like ever since and I'm the worst. I am so lazy. All right, I'm not lazy.
busy. You
I
are
am
very
not. I'm
busy.
very, very busy.
You're
Admittedly,
busy.
I'm very busy. But in the same breath, I'm not too busy to scroll on social media.
You know
At
what I
the end
do?
of the day, or even at the beginning of the day before work.
Yep.
We work at home. There's no excuses.
Yeah, which is even a better reason to get into a routine. And I will not allow myself to go onto social media platforms after dinner. I save it until morning because that's when I work out and that's when I go hard on the machine. And then I scroll hard through my TikTok or
Mm.
Instagram and it's kind of killing it and it makes it go by so fast. And
It's
so,
funny. I've always been a morning girl. Like at the end of the day, I'm shot. Like, don't talk to me, don't whatever. And if I did used to work out at night, I was a little bit too like almost on an endorphin high and I couldn't sleep. So
exactly.
I used to be like one of those people that would wake up at like 5 in the morning, get my workout in, and then I was like, woo, energetic for the whole day and hitting everything. Nowadays, I think part of the okay, it's easy for me to blame my son, but that's not appropriate. But I still get up that early, but I have to get him up at 5:45. So I get up at 5:15. I need like a half an hour of
Mhm.
just like wake up, wake up,
Yeah,
wake
I
up.
still have my coffee. I wake up, I feed the dogs. My husband goes off to work about 5:30 and it takes me about a good 30 minutes. I have got to let that caffeine kick in. I need a
Yeah,
jump
you
start.
are up early too.
Yeah.
Because
But
we're on separate coasts. And
yeah,
sometimes I'm like, what the heck is she doing all my stuff this early in the morning?
if I don't just do it, it's just so easy to get sidetracked. And then one day leads to 5 days, leads to a week, to 2 weeks, and then you've broken your routine. And I feel like I'm rewarding myself with those extra days off, and I don't feel bad about it. And so I do like a routine that works for me, especially with working from home, which is a challenge for a lot of people. And a lot of people are going back to work now, and see, we still do work from home, and
And
so
we're
that's
so lucky. We're so
even
lucky.
more important for me to stay in that routine, to stay on track with even just work. And so it's just finding that balance that works for you. Some people do work out in the afternoon as an afternoon break or evening. I like to get it out of the way because then I take a shower. I feel nice and
Mhm.
clean. It's, one of
See,
my,
I like writing lists. I like, like this may seem like it makes no sense, but it does. I like to write lists of like how I would do things and I would plan it out and I would make out a schedule and then I would schedule it into my phone so I get alarms. Like I have alarms set on my phone for everything.
I
like
have to do that too.
everything,
Yes.
even right down to like, 5:15, I'm awake. 5:45, it gives it to wake up Gunner. 6 o'clock, I have to take some medicine. 6:15 is that alarm that says, tell Gunner to put on his shoes and socks, and I have to make his lunch. 6:30 is like, if he hasn't put on his shoes and socks, we better get moving on that. By 6:45, we're out the door. Like I have alarms because I am one of those people that will just kind of like completely
So
zone out.
he's the
I will
biggest
get
distractor.
distracted by something.
I mean,
And I
it could be
feel
your
like I
email.
need
Yeah.
to I've been doing this pattern. And of course, it's usually during the school year, but I've been doing this pattern for so long that I almost feel like I need a disruptor. I need to
Yes.
do
Yes.
something, but I have to write it out. And that's what I was getting about
I
list.
love lists too, but
I need to make a
on that.
list of what
Yes.
after I get him to school, because I'm sorry, we're at the bus stop at 6:45 in the morning.
Early.
That's more than enough time. More than enough time. Who the heck do I think I am? I come back here, I make myself another cup of coffee.
Well, I think we need to schedule the time for the things that we know that we need to do for ourselves. And we know they're going to make us feel better and all around be a happier, healthier person.
Yeah.
And if you have to put those things on your schedule, like this is face mask night, this is, I'm going to do this and schedule it in with your other activities, then it becomes a routine. Then you can relax while you're doing it instead of doing these things more as a task list, I think. And you have to allow yourself that, you have to give yourself that time, I think, because otherwise we do get caught up in what we need to do for everybody else, whether it's your children or your work. And me, I mean, if I'm not told do not work, I'm gonna work. I love being productive. I love making lists, checking things off, adding more to it. It makes me feel good, but you have to also do yourself preservation, your self-care, and invest in yourself. I want this body and I want all my natural teeth. I want everything I can have until I, hit the dirt. That's it,
It's funny because I often think about the fact that when I was younger, we go through the motions. We're exercising and doing all this stuff because we want to be cute and all this other stuff. Now, don't get me wrong. I still want to be cute. I still want to, I still want to feel good for myself. I'm less focused on what other people think.
Yeah.
Heck, if I was really that focused on what other people think, I might have been making different choices in my fashion, but that's besides the point. I do what makes me happy. But I think that as we move forward, right, in a weird way, society in many ways will look at us as like, oh, they're older, But I think like in my head, and I hear this from people that are either our age or 80 or 90 years old, we're still very vibrant and young and excited. I think the difference is that particularly with Gen X, we always were a little bit like, screw it, we're going to do whatever we want to do.
Yeah. I mean, I want to disprove all of those, myths. And I feel like we're so much healthier and we know so much more than even, our parents and our grandparents. And, I know my dad, he lives in a retirement community and it's about 50-50. He's got some ladies that are, they got their walkers out there and they do their laps. And then you have some that, obviously haven't really invested well in themselves and taken care of themselves. And I want to be the walker lady,
I know. I don't even want to be the walker lady. I saw this video the other day of this woman was recording her grandmother who was 95 years old and doing yoga and doing things that I have never been able to do my whole entire life.
Amazing.
So I'm not saying that suddenly picking it up now, I'm going to suddenly be able to do that when I'm 95, but I want to be darn tootin' close.
Yeah, I want to take the class and at least try and not have the oxygen and not have to worry about some of this as long as we can, for as long as we can. And I think now it's part of this hitting the big 50. It wasn't quite the number, but also some of the things that came along with it. I thought, you can go either way.
Are we both 1972?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes. So it was
Love that for us.
I didn't, I didn't, the number didn't really bother me as much as some of the get up. It takes me a little longer. I got to stretch. I'm a little tight and sore after sleeping and, just the little things. But I think all these things that we do for ourselves can make it a lot easier. And we need to be a lot kinder and not so hard on ourselves and, accept what we have to accept, change what we can change and feed ourselves mentally and emotionally and physically. And I'll keep you posted. I'll let you know if it's
I know. I want to know. We'll have to do a recap on another day.
Yeah,
Like months
definitely.
from now. And then maybe by then, Jennifer, I'll actually use that fabulous weight bench that is in my garage, all set up and perfect and beautiful.
Put it on your list. You got to put it on your list so you can check it off. And, and we can have a whole nother conversation about styles and clothing and, what we used to wear, what we thought we could wear, and what we're wearing now. And
I know. I know.
If you feel good, it helps. At least if I can be thinner, I mean, I can be firmer and not get any bigger. That's not even my goal is to be skinnier now. It's like, I need to be strong. I need to be healthy. That's at least something I know is achievable. So
very cool. Well, I appreciate you coming on today and chatting and telling us about your life and what you're doing because you're doing something right, Chica.
Oh, thank you for having me. It has been my pleasure. And yeah, I'd love to do it again sometime soon.